Good morning. This is Rosemary, and this is the Lightwalker's Path podcast. And I'm your host and your guide. It's a place to find your soul's purpose and hear enlightening conversation and meet inspirational guests like today's guest, Peter McLaughlin. And he owns Blue Sky Hypnosis. You can find him on YouTube. He does lots of work with people to mind shift them. He was a volunteer EMT and firefighter. He has a passion for helping people through many different life issues, and he's been through quite a few himself. So, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well. How are you doing?
Good, good. I was really fascinated to read about your journey, and not only that you do hypnosis and other modalities, but kind of how you came to this incredible path that you find yourself on now. So, what actually, I know what led you because I read about you, but what led you to this path that you're currently on to help all these people that you find yourself working with?
I suppose the real tipping point was being diagnosed on the same day with Lyme disease and leukemia. And this is when I was volunteering to be a firefighter EMT in my town in Connecticut.
Oh my gosh.
And it was basically asymptomatic. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't I didn't go to the doctor because there was something going on and I was concerned about it. It was just a really extensive physical for the fire department. And when I gave the physical part of it, the doctor actually said to me, "Wow, you're in really good shape for a 41-year-old man. And we want you now to give blood." So I gave blood, and the next day all these alarm bells went off. And it was a sense of real disbelief when I finally got to these frantic people at the doctor's office who said, "We think you have Lyme disease and a rare form of leukemia." I was like, this has got to be fake. This
Wow.
can't be real. I'm not even going to take it seriously. I'll give
Sure.
blood again. And so I did, and the exact same results came up. And that really kind of, in my view, presented a doorway to me that
Yeah.
we all get these doorways, and our free will means we can choose to walk through it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had been presented with multiple doorways before and had chosen to keep
Oh,
walking.
you're giving me
This one,
chills.
this
Yeah.
one was the proverbial hit in the head with the spiritual two by four, and I personally couldn't ignore it. And that's really what began this part of my life's path.
It's so amazing. And when you're saying like getting hit upside the head, these things
Mhm.
happen. Like we all get exit points. We all get those
Yeah.
points where you either ignore it or you listen to your guidance. And thank God you listened to your guidance. And that's why you were gifted this next part. So you've been in good shape and in good health. What are some of the things that helped you personally to shift out of that fear-based thinking and illness into like your healthy state now? What are some
Yeah,
of the
it's a,
things?
it's a great question, and it's a multifaceted answer. I went on to become a firefighter and an EMT, obviously, as you said in the introduction.
Mm,
And that really helped me in
hmm.
many ways. One of
Okay.
the ways was that it just distracted me. I couldn't obsess and think about my own situation all the time because I was so engaged in becoming a firefighter, becoming an EMT, and then going through the training, which was ongoing, and then
Right.
going to calls where I was dealing with people at the lowest point in their lives.
Yes.
And because of that, it there was an element beyond distraction, which was purpose. That was part of it. I felt like I was achieving a purpose. It felt right. I felt like I was always meant to do that work. And it also puts things in perspective.
Hmm.
When you're standing there and someone's house is burning down,
Yeah.
and these things are not planned for. They don't think, "Oh, my house is going to burn down in
Right.
six
Right.
months.
Oh,
I'm going to plan for it." No, they wake up in the middle of the night and maybe they're trapped inside of the house and they're jumping out of a window, or they,
yeah.
they otherwise are like thrust into this emergency, or somebody's floating face down in a pool, or a family is all killed in a car accident. I mean, it
Yeah.
really, really immediately puts you into the real world. We're not,
Yeah.
you can't be in a bubble anymore, and you're face to face with that visceral reality that it's true that none of us is guaranteed another moment.
That's true. That's
And
absolutely.
so I remember one call in particular. I was totally fixated on myself. Was
Hmm.
totally fixated on, the doctors had told me when I said, "How long do I have?" They said maybe 10 years. This was 23 years ago. They said maybe 10 years.
Wow.
And everything I was thinking about was kind of going through that prism, unless I was, occupied with the fire department.
Mm-hmm.
And things could change in an instant because we carried pagers and we had our personal turnout gear in our vehicles, and then the fire apparatus would meet us at the scene. And I was
Mm-hmm.
driving home thinking about myself. Pager goes off, and you can tell after a while when the dispatcher, the police dispatcher, you can tell by the tone of their voice
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
it's not a routine call. And this was not a routine. It could tell in the tone of her voice. And
Yeah.
I was already headed in the direction of where this accident occurred. So I was the second person to get there. And when I got there, I put on my gear and I went over to this car, which I could not immediately tell what was the front of the car and what was the rear of the car. It was that bad.
Oh.
And I walked up and I saw what turned out later to be an 18-year-old boy lying on his back, and I could see immediately, I could tell he was dead.
Oh.
There was a piece about that that really stayed with me, which is this light inside of us that we
Mm-hmm.
would call our soul, maybe, or our spirit that animates us.
Absolutely.
And I could see for the first time in my life, I could feel that that was not there.
Yeah.
He
Mm.
didn't have any major obvious marks on him, but I could immediately tell that he was gone.
Yes.
And then the other fireman on the scene was a captain, and he said, "Get the driver out of the car." And so I went around to the driver's side, and I put my hands on his shoulders, and I noticed that his head was 180 degrees rotated, looking back. As soon as the captain saw that, he's like, "Just leave him. He's gone."
Mm.
Yep. Okay. And reflecting on this incident, it was I was thinking about how 5 minutes before they impacted with the first tree, these two probably didn't have a health care in the world, 18 and 22.
Oh, sure.
5 minutes later, and I was fixated on my situation.
Yes.
How long am I going to live? And then
Yeah.
5 minutes later, they were gone.
They were gone.
And
Of
that had this visceral impact on me.
course.
None of us is guaranteed anything.
Mm.
That I should really spend more time appreciating what I actually have rather than fixating on what I might lose and when I might lose it.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Wow.
So, so these were some really pivotal experiences for me in dealing with the fear.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't the only ones, but they were really pivotal. And I believe in some ways that I'm continuing to help people in crisis. I'm just not doing it in turnout gear. I'm just not doing it with an axe or a pike pole in my hand or a
Mm.
2.5-inch hose line. I'm doing it in a different way.
I love that. And that's such a powerful story. And oh my gosh, I thank you for your service because I always think about in times when you need somebody there, someone has to be courageous enough to step up and help people or to be there at the time when they really, really need you. And it's just amazing that you had the courage and the strength to do that. I know, like even being a doctor or being an EMT, like you have to have such a strong, heart-centered boundary, so to speak, so you don't cry over the people. You can actually help them. So I think that's quite an amazing journey. And even to know like that you had free will, like you could have just gone down the self-pity road and stopped yourself, or you could have used your life in the way that you're doing it. And free will is so powerful. It's so powerful to our transformation.
It really is. It really is. There was a moment at which early on with the diagnosis and everything, I was talking to somebody at a doctor's office somewhere. And this woman said to me, "Now you don't have to do the fire department." And
Yeah,
I said, "I want to do
it's your
it."
choice. It's your
This is
choice.
not, nobody's pushing me into this. This
No,
is like,
no.
this is part of a dream that I had had for a while. I'm not stopping. Like, I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to do this. And
Yes.
I totally resonate with the point that you make about having the ability to, I don't know exactly what you would call it. I think you termed it better than I've ever heard it, that like a heart-centered
Hmm.
ability to be with a person while they're in the lowest moment, while they're screaming even.
Right.
while they're flipping out, and somebody somewhere has to be rooted. They have to be grounded in
Yes.
order to be for that person to look to them and think, okay, this person's not flipping out. Maybe they can help me. And I
Yeah.
think the same thing is true even in my practice. That
Absolutely.
that ability to remain present no matter
Present.
what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
Give them that like I think of like a piling or something
That
in a river
anchor.
or an ocean that you can hold
Yeah.
on to for a moment.
Yeah. A lifeline, that
A
anchor.
lifeline, right? Right.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
don't know exactly what creates that within a person. I've thought about that a lot because too much of that and it's like you're totally walled off, you're compartmentalized.
Mhm.
But if you don't have it, then you can't do that kind of work. So there's this very
Yeah.
interesting balance I find.
I think it's a dance between being present and empathetic and also allowing that person to be without losing your soul with it. And I think a lot of it comes from, like for me, it comes from, I have a very strong faith. So I know that what I understand as God or my spirit or soul has a really strong mission. And I've had this since I've been a child, that I'm supposed to be here to help people and shift them. And I always knew it. And like it always brings me back when I'm feeling distressed. I'm like, no, this is your path. This is what you need to do. You have to keep yourself together. Because if you're not together, how can you help anyone? So, keep filling your own cup so you can help and give the other person a drink of water. Put your
Yep.
mask on first, as they
Yeah.
say.
And this was a big part of our training in the fire department that was reinforced every year. It was your first of all, they said, if you've had a drink, if you've had a beer,
Mm,
don't come. We
right,
don't want you.
right.
If you're sick, if you've got the flu,
Mm-hmm.
if you're injured, don't come. You won't be
Right.
of any help. Stay home.
Yes.
And when
Yes.
you get to the scene, we got constant training to overcome the human instinct, which is tunnel vision,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the greatest source of fire or the car that's in the worst shape or the person that's yelling the most or has the most blood
Right.
on them.
Right. Like the triage kind of idea,
Yep.
right?
Yep. And then doing a 360 around the incident so that we don't get hit by a car on the road at night, so that we don't
Yes.
trip over a down power line and electrocute ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was I remember being so riveted when they first talked to us about this. Your first responsibility is to yourself. Number two is to
Mm-hmm.
your fellow firefighters. Number three is to the bystanders. And fourth is the victim.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing. But
It
it makes
sounds like
perfect
so
sense.
flipped, but it makes sense. It makes
Yeah.
so much sense.
And they would say, we don't need another victim, one less helper and one more victim. That doesn't help us.
Right, right.
We have to like stabilize everything before we can move forward. And
Yes.
I found that the training as an EMT was very similar to what I use as a hypnotherapist, which is basically two steps. One is
Mm-hmm.
rapid assessment.
Mm-hmm.
The thing you start treating on the front of them may not reveal
That's the
something
mask.
sharp
That's the
and deep
mask.
sticking out of their back that may kill them. You have to look at
Yeah.
every part of them before you can take action.
Absolutely. It's so cool because I was reading, like I've been past life regressed a few times. I've been hypnotized. And I do know that it's so powerful because hypnosis gets into the subconscious area of the mind where things are hiding, the things that are driving you from the age of 3 and before that is like driving these belief systems and all these things that we have. So I know that I've read that you do also past life hypnosis. Is that
Oh,
right?
that's been a huge part of my practice over the last 20 years.
It's such an unusual experience, and going through it a couple times myself, what I've learned is that you don't always go where you want to be. You go to the area of pain where that needs to be healed. So when
Mhm.
I wanted to go to my native life, I wound up someplace else. I'm like, I don't want to be here, but that's exactly where I needed to be to
Mhm.
clear this issue that my soul was holding,
Yes.
you know? So
Yeah,
have you,
and I have another I keyed into you saying it's hiding.
yeah,
And that's definitely what it feels like.
yeah.
And I want to talk about this slight reframe because I've never thought about it this way before, which is it's almost as if it's there's so much noise
Mm-hmm.
that it's not actually hiding, it's being
Can't hear it.
concealed.
Yes. Yes.
by the monkey
Static.
busy mind and
Mm-hmm.
by all of the inputs that we get from the billboards and the TV and our phone and the radios and the cars
Static.
whizzing by and the colors and the lights,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the carnival of life,
Yes.
how busy our culture expects us to be
Yes.
versus a person. I've always had this in my imagination when I talk about this sort of thing, imagining a Native American, you talked about a native life,
Mm-hmm.
walking through the woods
Mm-hmm. Oh,
in moccasins,
yeah.
electrically connected to the earth, feeling the undulation and the twigs and the rocks under their feet, and sensing the presence of animals, sensing the presence of their ancestors, sensing the presence of God, knowing when a storm is coming because they
Absolutely.
can feel the change in the barometric pressure.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean? And that in that environment, in that kind of life, I don't think there would be any sense of that sort of thing hiding
No.
because it wouldn't be concealed
You're
by the
present.
noise that's above it.
And it's so interesting because as you were talking, I was seeing this. Before you were saying it, I was picturing exactly what you were saying. That's always my feeling. As a child, I spent a lot of time outdoors. I was very into, like, I knew when a storm was coming. I could look at the sun and tell the time. And like, this is just me, little Italian girl from New Jersey, outdoors playing all day. But
Mhm.
we were very in tune with nature. We weren't inside like the kids are now. We'd feel the change in the body when the weather changed. And I always thought that the native people had this natural innate ability because of this experiential life without distraction. And I've also read that some people, some of the hunters out in these really ancient cultures used to actually see a pattern on the ground of light where the animals had ran. And because they were so tuned in to the way of, like, almost like a meditative state where time slows down. I'm like, that's cool, and I believe it. Just spending a few days away from electronics and being out in nature, it just shifts you. It's
It
it's
does.
incredible. It's so incredible.
It does. And I'm also I've noticed, particularly over the last 6 years since COVID, that a difference, like a meta difference
Yes. Yes.
between people who work with their hands for a living
Uh-huh.
and people who work with computers for a living,
Absolutely different. Yes.
that there's like a no BS meter
Yeah.
inside the people who work with their hands
Yes.
because they know intuitively because of their work what
Yeah.
makes sense and
What
what
makes
doesn't. In a virtual environment,
everything's
anything
fake.
makes sense. Like
Yes.
the movie The Matrix. Yeah, you can fly
Yes.
in a virtual sense,
Yeah.
but the guy that's a plumber knows if you jump off the building, you're going to go splat
Yeah. Yeah.
in
More. More.
in the 3D world.
Yes.
Right? In your
Absolutely.
consciousness, yes, you can. But
Yeah.
I have noticed a huge difference there. And I was raised with this idea that only people who weren't smart did that kind of work. And I almost think it's the other way around. I think people that do that work have a much better grounding in the way
Yeah.
we were talking about people being in other cultures or you when you were a little
Yes.
girl.
Yes, yeah. It's funny. My father was a carpenter, so he was like one of these, earthy type of guys. He had amazing intuition. My mom, who's brilliant, didn't have the intuition dad had. So I
Mhm.
was raised with these two different things, a very educated, experience, and then my dad, who was like intuition, and
Yeah.
I kind of took from both. But
Yeah.
for me, when I feel off center, I go walk in the woods. I garden, I pull weeds, I make things. I'm highly creative, so I do all kinds of creative kind of things too. But again, I come off like I was a school teacher and I have all the degrees, but I do know that's the thing that brings us to ourselves is your creativity, your the earth, being in nature. Those are all things that heal us.
I totally agree. And I heard a therapist whom I really like and admire say to me that to meet God, you have to go low.
Go in like a child.
You have to go low to meet God. You have to garden.
Yes.
You have to clean your house. You have to walk in the woods.
Yes.
You
Yes.
have to
Heard you
cultivate
that.
the earth.
Yeah.
You have to go down to go.
Yeah. That's right. That's
I
right.
love that.
Yeah, there's a Zen saying, I think it's chop wood, carry water. And it's the idea of a simple the simpleness of how you find whatever you're looking for. It's not complicated. It's all within you.
Okay, so you just inspired me with an insight based on what you're talking about of another thing that happened with the fire department. So what I tend to focus on when I go back in my mind is the big incidents, like the one,
Yeah.
the one that I told you about, and there's a number of other ones. But really the work is going low.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning the equipment,
Mm-hmm.
testing everything that has a motor, putting
Right.
gas back in it, oil back in it, doing the training. After
Mm-hmm.
an incident, we spend a lot of time just washing the hose, getting all the soot off it, making sure there's no dirt or glass on it, drying it, and then repacking it in the bed of the engines. Like,
Yeah.
this is 90% of what we do is going low.
Yes.
10% that's the lights and the sirens are going and people are moving around like bees putting
Yeah.
out a fire or cutting people out of a car. This is the smallest amount of what we do.
Yeah.
Most of it is the cleaning, training, ordering things, keeping things in order. It's
Yeah. Yes.
very interesting.
The
Yeah,
small moments in life. Love
yeah.
that.
It's going low.
Going low. Going low. Okay, I was writing some notes in here. I was going to ask you. Oh, okay. Neural linguistic programming. So, explain that like simply. When you say you do neural linguistic programming, is that words you speak to yourself, words we think? Because I think words are so powerful, and our thoughts to ourselves create reality. So, is that what you mean when you work with neural linguistic programming?
Neurolinguistic programming is really like a brother or a sister discipline to hypnosis. They mate up perfectly.
Okay.
And we would generally, yes, language is huge with neurolinguistic programming. It's also central to hypnosis.
Okay.
How you phrase something to yourself or someone else can radically shape or reshape their emotional experience.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of the art, I think, of athletic coaches.
Yes, reframing a thought, right?
It's unbelievable that for football fans out there, and maybe there are none, the New England Patriots the year before last had one of the worst records in the NFL. They changed their head coach and then they went to the Super Bowl all in one year.
Yeah. Amazing, right?
That's clearly the coach
Yes,
that's a big part of that.
I
And the
believe.
coach isn't throwing any balls, they're not running down the field, they're not tackling anyone. But
No.
an enormous part of what they do, I think, I'm going to say 80% of what they do has to do with it motivating, inspiring, organizing, and maybe 20%, this is just my guess, is
Mm-hmm.
more strategy,
That's
tactics,
what I
and
felt
strategy.
teaching was too. That's teaching too. I was teaching kids.
Yes, and
Yes.
that was Plato's whole thing. You
Yes.
don't install information in
No,
people.
you don't. Teach them how to,
You,
yeah. You allow
yeah,
them. I think part of it is like the word I choose. So instead of this is a mistake, I always say this was a choice, but I can choose differently.
perfect,
This
perfect.
was a moment, and I can rewrite the way that I view it. So it's all about the lesson. Like I always think anything you go through is all about the lesson of what did I learn about my soul, about myself, and about my choice that I can shift this mindset I'm currently in. Because that's why people feel stuck when they don't know how to reframe an experience and learn from it. Of course, they're going to feel stuck because they're not seeing the possibilities, And I think that's really vital. Have you
Yes,
had have you had anyone that you can't hypnotize or that blocked you from being hypnotized? Maybe fear, because I know we hypnotize ourselves actually, but are
we
there
do. And when this question comes up, the first thing that I always want to do, and I do this with every one of my clients, is define what hypnosis is.
okay. All right.
Because we live, again, in a culture where the words hypnosis, hypnotize, and mesmerize are saturated throughout the culture
Yes.
in every form of communication, including the lyrics to popular songs, movies,
Mm-hmm.
TV, newscasters use these words. And
Yes.
and in that definition that's being
Hmm.
presented, it's entertainment, pretty much. And
Yes.
it's one
Yes.
person controlling another who's in a catatonic sleep-like state. They do whatever
Right.
they're told and they don't remember anything.
Yes.
Whereas when people understand that hypnosis is you're watching television,
Yeah.
and someone calls your name or you call someone else's name and they don't answer you,
Right. You're in that state already.
and they call you again and
Yeah.
you still don't answer them, and a
Yeah.
third time and you say, huh, what, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Uh-huh.
Because you're looking at a
Daydream
flickering
state.
image. It's
Mm-hmm.
flickering so fast you can't even tell it's flickering
Mm-hmm.
at a fixed distance. And then it has emotional programming that draws you in,
Yes.
brings you into a focused state of concentration, like a
Yeah.
narrow diameter of attention and focus.
Yes.
Anything outside that narrow diameter, in that moment, it's like it doesn't exist.
That's true.
The other person's voice,
Mm-hmm.
time. How many of us have watched a movie and the movie ends and you're like, that was 2 hours?
Mm-hmm. Right, right. It's so automatic.
Yep. Or have you ever gotten in the shower and you look at your leg and you've got a bruise that big on your thigh and you're wondering, where'd that come from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it came when you were so focused on
Being
something, you didn't
unconsciously.
even feel the pain.
Absolutely. You know that
That
that's
is
a
hypnosis.
that even happens sometimes when I'm reading. If I'm really engrossed reading a book or even writing my own book, sometimes you're so engrossed in the character or what's happening that for a minute you forget where you are. Like I've read a book one time and they had a scene where somebody fell and I actually went like this, to grab myself. But it was like I was so into the moment and it was so sensory for me to read something that was powerful. And that's so much why I love books too, you know? So you also write. I read that you were a journalist you were a journalist before. Is that true? Were you
No,
right?
I was not a journalist. I wrote a book.
Oh, what is your book?
It's called Becoming the Customer.
Okay.
So for the 20 years that I've been practicing, there were many years where I was doing something else. And I
Okay.
was doing hypnosis during the week, in the evenings, and on Saturdays. And being a firefighter and being a dad of young kids and working in the world, in the greater world. And for a while, I ran a security guard company, and then I ran a little shipping and packing store that had an eBay consignment, and then I was in the corporate world for about 5 years doing sales. And what I
Okay.
recognized in these doing being in these different walks of life, including the fire service, that
Hmm.
there are these silos of wisdom and practice and information and tools that
Hmm.
don't make it over to the other silos.
That's true.
So, for example, as a firefighter EMT, I was the first one to deal with patients in a car accident.
Right.
They would send me in because I was cross-trained. So there was one incident where the car was at the bottom of an embankment, it was upside down. And so they sent me to crawl in there to stabilize the patient because I had both the fire training
Right.
and I had EMS.
Right.
And
Right.
what I realized over time was I could help people quickly move out of the perception of pain
Huh.
because
Wait.
I knew that in an accident, they are in an altered state. They are in a hypnotic
Oh,
state.
that's
And
true.
what you say to them goes directly into their subconscious mind, which
Wow.
controls their autonomic nervous system.
That's true. Yeah. Very
And
interesting.
this was such a, a, a huge awareness to recognize, wow, the person was screaming, and 60 to 120 seconds later, they're calm.
That's quite amazing.
And then somebody else walks in and says something else, like we're going to roll them onto a longboard, and they say this is going to hurt, and the person starts feeling
Of
pain
course,
again.
yes. Yes, then you just gave them that thought. Yes.
This is how powerful we are.
It's I always think of there's a I can't think of his name, Dispenza, Joe Dispenza,
Yes.
when he broke his back and he reknitted himself all through
Yeah.
thought. Like amazing, right? And that really brings it to home, like the power of our thoughts. I know when I'm doing Reiki on people, they're in that very calm hypnotic state. So whenever I'm on them, again, I know that they're in that calm state. So I'll say, your body is healing better each day. I'll give them some things because I know that that locks into the subconscious. And, no fear talk, no complaining, it's just take a breath, everything's fine. And it really is powerful.
It
It's
is powerful. And what I'd like to say in response to that is that from a hypnotic perspective, I believe that there are I always try to simplify things, two sides to this coin.
mm-hmm.
One side is the side that 90% of people who call themselves hypnotists would do exclusively, and that is in a hypnotic trance, deliver the suggestion for the desired outcome, similar to what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The other side to the same coin is the obstacle side.
Mm-hmm.
Something has been blocking or preventing this person from
Yes.
healing for a long
Yes.
time. And in my practice, in the way I do things, to me, this is like that 80-20 rule. I think
Mhm.
80%, well, 80% of my focus is going to go on that side.
Yes.
Because probably like you, I believe that we are all children of God. We are all divine. We have the spark of God, the spark of life inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
That, like a car, when it comes off the assembly line, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yes.
no problem with it. When it has a problem, it means it's kind of like a block. Something's
Yes.
gone
What is
wrong.
it? Yeah.
And it goes to the mechanic, and the mechanic takes the symptom, smoke
Mm-hmm.
coming out of the engine, which is not the problem. It's
No,
a manifestation of the problem.
that's right.
They trace that down to the part that's gone bad,
Absolutely.
fix that, and then the symptom, which was only a manifestation, goes away. So,
Yes.
disease, I'm not a
Yes.
doctor, no one listen to me, but I
Yes.
say the symptom is just a manifestation. It's just a signpost telling us dig deeper, find what this is connected to.
Yes.
And
So
so
the
that's where I put 80% of my effort with my clients. And I put 20% on the traditional hypnosis, go into a trance, give you the suggestions for the
mm-hmm.
desired outcome. I mean, I
Yeah.
have a YouTube channel with 280 pieces of content that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
want to put my focus there because if you say to somebody, which is beautiful, your body is healing.
Mm-hmm.
What if they have a belief deep inside of them that they don't deserve that?
Right. Then something's going to block up or not work. I totally agree with that. It's funny because my keynote talk is all about where does your body hold your emotion. And I bring my healers through this when I train them is like, okay, where are you feeling tightness or pain? And then we find out like in your body what that means because a lot of people hold it like in their shoulders or in their back, and they all have emotional components based on where you're holding it and why you're not choosing to let it go. So that's pretty neat, but it's such an overlap with what you're saying, which I love. I love that. So I'm also going to ask you about the beautiful picture behind you. Are you the artist, or
No,
did
I'm not.
it's beautiful? That's your
Thank
dog.
you. That's a dog named Sam who passed away about 2 years ago, and he was a real buddy of mine. I,
I love it. I love
I
it. Yeah. I lost two dogs 2 years ago, so yeah, I get it. And my father's name was Sam, by the way. So
oh,
with that name, I love that name. Yes, that's beautiful.
and I wanted to speak about him earlier, so I would like to use this as a segue. When he was dying, it was totally unexpected, and maybe it shouldn't have been
Hmm.
because he was really starting to have problems. Labs have problems with their breathing as they get older. And we were managing it with all kinds of natural herbs and everything that were anti-inflammatory herbs. And he was doing fine. And one night he was having trouble breathing, and I just went over and I was patting him and talking to him very calmly, and he calmed down and his breathing got better. And in the morning, I called the vet, and the vet said, "I think you should bring him over." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Maybe they're going to now want to give him a steroid or something." I
Mm,
didn't realize this was going to be it.
yeah.
And and it was obvious when I was there that this was time. And what I wanted to say is that about 2 years before he died, I began bringing Sam into my daily meditation,
Hmm.
which he still is there.
Yeah.
And so I was very comfortable with the meditation practice where my spirit guides already are there,
Hmm.
and I can hear them. Like that's my ability is the hearing.
Oh, well.
And so when he was when I was saying goodbye to him, and then when he passed, I had his face in my hands, and I was right up looking in his eyes, and I was able to shift between the physical plane, holding
Hmm.
his face in my hands and looking in his eyes, and the spiritual plane.
Yeah.
And as soon as I went into the spiritual plane, we were in a meadow and there was a stone bridge there, and he
Hmm.
was running around with these other dogs, and then he would come back to me and tell me how exciting this was.
Oh, that's nice.
And I was able to talk to him and say, it's okay for you to
How
go.
you can go. Oh,
It's you're going to be safe, and I love you, and we'll always be connected. And it was so transformative. And it felt, I even at the time, it felt that it was like if you put oil on metal that's rusty or something,
Yeah,
suddenly it starts to move more smoothly.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
could feel this kind of
Ease.
smoothness amidst the tears and amidst the profundity of the moment. And even when I was driving home after he passed, I felt like I could somehow, I thought it was him saying, "Get another dog." Like that
Yes,
soon.
yes, yes. Yep,
Which
killing yourself with another.
what?
Yes, I had the same experience, like similar experience with
Did
mine,
you?
where I needed, yes. And I've also dreamt of my pets. They've given me messages after they've passed. But yeah, definitely, it's amazing how when you're open to it, these things will open for you, and just give us such peace, right?
Yes, and I from working with my clients over the years, I believe that this is how we turn grief from an open wound into a scar. I
Yeah,
think this is how we are supposed to do it because
yeah,
if we don't, there is no closure. There
it
is
has to
no
be. Yes,
reconnecting
yes,
of the tissues that connect us to the people and the animals that we love.
I
Because
believe
our
that.
perception with our five senses is that they are gone because they don't
Limited.
have a body anymore.
Yeah, I always believe my father and mother are around, and my father gave me messages for like a year, so I know he's okay. But yeah, so and I think that is the healing balm. Is like once you have that faith to know they're okay, and that they're always with you in spirit, it's a different experience. It's a different way to react and to interact. So
Completely,
yeah.
completely.
So we're coming up on the last minute of the show. So I
Mhm.
want to mention your how they can contact you. Is it Peter at blueskyhypnosis.com?
Correct.
I'm going to put that in the description so when this airs, people can find your contact information and your name. And I thank you so much for the gift of your time. It's been such a pleasure.
Oh, it's been my pleasure as well. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. And this is the Lightwalker's Path. You can also learn more about my workshops, sessions, and books at rosemaryd.com. Blessings. Have a beautiful day.